Over the last several months, I've started using Claude Code to develop production-ready applications, and I started out with Lovable, but had to graduate from that to be able to actually get these apps ready for paying customers. And in today's video, I'm going to show you a really simple method that I use to troubleshoot bugs that pop up in my apps. By the end of this video, you'll know the simple process that I use to troubleshoot my applications and keep them running smoothly so I can keep getting those paying customers and continue building my empire. Full disclosure, I am not a developer. I am a registered nurse by trade, but I have a very strong skill set in identifying problems at a systemic level and using my experience, my intellect, my knowledge to troubleshoot them. The app that we're going to be debugging today is one of my flagship products, which is Violet the Curious. And this is a platform that allows business owners to actually get more reviews on their Google business profile using a very simple process. How the app works is that you enter in the client or customer's first name, their phone number, and then you hit send, and it actually sends them a text message with your Google business profile review link, as well as a customized message that lists your name, or rather your business's name, as well as the customer or client's name. And we know that people are much more likely to respond to a personalized review request rather than just a generic one. For me, I know the last time that I got one of those, even though the service was good and I probably would have left a good review, I could tell that they just had an automation that spammed it out to anybody. They didn't even mention my name in there. So I didn't fill it out because I didn't know if that was for me or not. So let's walk through what the actual issue is right now. I identified that there is a problem in my onboarding flow where there are certain buttons that aren't working or doing what they're supposed to be doing. So let's get to it. So once I go ahead and sign in here, because this is a new account, because I needed to test the onboarding flow, it's going to take me directly to the onboarding flow. And so as I was going through and testing things before I finished rolling this app out, I noticed that if you go skip for now, that it actually says fail to skip onboarding. But then as I thought about it, I'm like, do I actually want people skipping the onboarding? Probably not. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to actually remove that button. But first I'll tell you what I would walk through if I was actually going to do the old school way of troubleshooting. In the world of app development, especially for web apps, the console is your best friend. So in this instance, I'm on a Mac, so I just press F12. I think that's actually on everything actually. And it's telling me exactly what the problem is right here. And so it told me that this was the issue with the object and yada, yada, yada. So what I'm actually just going to do is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go to my instance of Claude Code, which we're not going to go through all the details of how to get that set up. We will do that in another video, but today I just want to show you the simple process I'm using. And so I had some other stuff that I was dealing with earlier that you guys will see in a future video, but I'm going to use Whisperflow, which if you don't know about Whisperflow, these guys ain't paying me, but they better start soon. It is a phenomenal tool that gives you the ability to actually use your voice to type in any field where you would normally type. These days, I'd be getting a little bit lazy. So I'm just going to use my voice because my voice is powerful, or at least I think so. And so it's just a lot easier for me to do it that way. There's an issue in the onboarding flow where if I try to skip the onboarding, then it actually says fail to skip onboarding. And here's a screenshot of what I see in the console when that happens. Identify the root cause and create a plan to fix it. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to slap in what I copied from my console here, and then we're going to give it a moment to let it think. So Claude Code took its time and really thought carefully. And this is one of the things I'm a huge fan of with the more recent updates to Claude Code and specifically Sonnet 4.5. It has just gotten very good at thinking carefully, and if it needs clarification, it'll ask you more questions, but in this case it didn't need to do that. So it's telling me that it has 98% confidence that the issue is the fact that the profiles table is missing 2 columns, and that is why when we try to skip, it's not working. So it goes through, tells me that this is going to be the fix here. I'm like, yeah, you know, I verify this, it makes sense to me, so I'm going to tell it to go ahead and execute those fixes, and then we're going to see what happens when we try to test it again. While that's working, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video, which is the Idea Get to App Challenge. This is a challenge that I run every so often, probably a few times a year, to support people who are wanting to go from having an idea for what they want to do for an app to actually making that happen and building it in such a way where you actually have the ability to apply for funding, accelerator programs, grants, to be able to actually bring that idea to life. So if you're trying to figure out how you can also start making 5 figures using your professional knowledge, your nursing knowledge if you are a nurse, and turn that into an app using AI, go ahead and click the link in the description and let's make it happen. All right, so I went and pasted the SQL into my SQL editor on Superbase, which we're leaving that for another video. I'm going to go ahead and refresh, and then we're going to hit skip for now, see what happens, and boom, it actually worked. Not bad. Took us exactly to the review form, which is where I would expect it to take me. There is no information inside of the business name or inside of the Google Business Profile review. Really what I wanted to just show you guys though is that you do have the ability to not only build apps, but to also fix them when they break. All you got to do is be strategic in finding out what that error is, talking to it about what it is that you did to actually get that result, and then ensure that when it's planning it out, that what it's saying makes sense. I didn't actually show it in this video because I knew it was going to be pretty straightforward, but I often will actually use the keyword ultra think. Anthropic, they're really interesting with the way that they've actually developed Claude Code, where you have the ability to tell it to use different thinking levels. I think it's like think hard, and then ultra think. So I just always default to ultra think because I want it to think carefully and deeply. Of course, that's going to use more tokens, which means you'll hit your usage limits faster. But hey, for me, I'm just trying to make these production ready apps as quickly as possible and make that money, while of course adding value to the people that I serve. If you want to learn how to use AI to create additional income sources, go ahead and just click this video right here.